Welcome to the Tech Clinic. Unfortunately, John couldn't make it today because
I've been snowed in, can't even get out of my gate, although people are walking through my field to go sledging, but don't worry, normal service will resume shortly.
However, fear not, I have braved the treacherous Arctic conditions and managed to get in to GCN Towers so I can answer your tech questions. Now, before we get stuck in, remember you can submit your questions using the hashtag AskGCNTech. First question this week is from Mike Gapter, who says, I have a Tomasini Teco with Campagnolo Chorus 10 speed. Gearing is 5239 with an 1125 cassette. Well, my knees are as young as they used to be, but I want to change the cassette out for an 1130. I've been told by my local bike shop that I cannot use the derailleur cage that's currently on it as it's too short, and no longer cage is available for it in Campy offerings. Can you offer any options that might work? Well, first thing, Mike, good to hear from you, and a Tomasini, nice bike, and I'm happy to know John is a fan of those too. The easiest and simple thing you can do is get a derailleur hanger extender, and this will drop the derailleur just a couple of centimetres lower, and they're really easy to fit, and best of all, you can get them for just like a couple of quid on eBay usually as well, so yeah, sorted. Next question is from Luca Bizyak, who says, hi John, love the show. As always, great info. I've got a question. I'm thinking about an upgrade / downgrade, meaning going from old Ultegra 6500 to the newer but lower 105 7000. This would fit, right? I'm uncertain, especially for what concerns the bottom bracket. Would you go for this upgrade or downgrade? The main usage of my bike at the moment is on my indoor trainer, but sometimes I also take it outdoors. Thanks for the help. Cheers, Luca, bye. Cool, right, well, it would work fine. And also, in terms of the older Ultegra to the newer 105, I actually truly believe that this is actually an upgrade. The difference between those two group sets is pretty big, and the shifting performance of the new 105 is brilliant. Which you may have seen in the blindfold test we did of 105 versus Dura Ace. If you've not seen that video, check it out, it's a good one. But yeah, the 105 is really good. Regarding the bottom bracket for your new group set, it will fit because they're both compatible, and you'll have a Holotech 2 bottom bracket as well, which that system, as opposed to the Octolink system you've got, so that system will actually save a load of weight too as an added bonus. So yeah, I'd say absolutely go for it. Question from David Konechny now, who says, any tips for winter cyclo-cross bike storage options? Muddy conditions plus having to park my bike in my apartment is not really an elegant solution. I honestly can't be bothered to clean the bike after every short ride. Mostly it's just the wheels and frame where the mud accumulates, not the drivetrain. Right, well, I think ideal for something like this would be a turbo training mat, as it's the right size and proportions of a bike, and it will sort of, you know, catch any dirt that falls off the bike in your apartment. You can sort of park it on there, and then you can also hose down turbo training mats as well and clean them later outside if you need to. The other thing is, if you drive to a cyclocross race and you're on your way home and you live in an apartment and it's hard for you to clean your bike, then something that my brother does is stops past a petrol station where they've got a jet wash and just quickly blasts his bike for a few minutes, and he gets rid of most of the dirt, obviously avoiding the crucial areas such as bottom bracket bearings. But yeah, it does a really quick job of getting all the mud off in a very short space of time. Ties van Ballenberg asks, hi John, love the show. Do I benefit a lot by buying a bike with electronic shifting instead of mechanical? I don't compete in races. I just ride 10,000k a year, including some sportives like Les Trois Ballons. The difference in price is €1,300 between the bikes that I'm considering, and one has 105 on it, the other has Ultegra Di2. Thanks a lot. Just 10,000k a year? I assume you mean 10k a year, but joking aside, it's quite a tough one, this. I love electronic gears, and I really like racing on them because I never experienced a misshift at all. If I wasn't racing on it, then I'd be less bothered about using electronic gears. But ultimately, the shifting performance with Di2 is superb. Ultegra level as well. It's better than any mechanical shifting, in my opinion. It's absolutely brilliant. And once you've experienced it, it's very hard to go back to mechanical shifting. And I would say that if you can afford it and will get enjoyment from it, then why not upgrade to it? And I'd also say that you certainly don't need to be racing in order to justify Di2. We have a question from Doug Morley now, who says, last year I bought a Ridley Phoenix, an excellent machine. It is, good choice. I found it harder going than my other bike, which was a Ribble HF83. The problem seems to be the bottom bracket, which is a press fit BB86, and it's very stiff but apparently smooth. The Ribble has a 68mm external screw fit bottom bracket and spins very freely. Why should the BB86 on the new bike be so stiff? Well, the BB86 could have better seals, or perhaps it's not yet fully worn in, which is a thing that can happen. So it could take a little while, a bit of riding for it to free up. The other thing to consider, and this is probably the worst case scenario, is that the BB shell is not perfectly symmetrical. And this means that the bearing cups are not perfectly in line, and so the axle, as it goes through from the chain set, is not able to turn as freely as possible. Threaded bottom bracket shells are generally tapped out together, so they're perfectly in line with one another, and the BBs spin really smooth, which is great. But if it is the fact that the cups are not perfectly symmetrical, then it's worth probably taking it to your bike shop and where you got it and getting them to have a look at it and assess it. A question from Igich Dacic now. Sorry if I've completely mispronounced your name there. But he says, hi John, I bought a BMC SLR01 with Ultegra R8000 on it. Sounds like a really nice bike, that. And after a few months, I converted it to SRAM Red ETAP. After he's done all this, he says, I noticed that the dropout didn't match and I have to buy a new one, the one that matches for the SRAM group set. Why is this the case? Why did Shimano do that? Tanks, which is spelled TNX. Well, there is an answer to this, and it's that the dropout is designed for the new Shadow design rear mech, which enables the rear derailleur on the newer Shimano group sets to sit closer into the cassette, and this means that you get less flex in the system and more precise gear shifting as the derailleur is moved inwards. And it also means that the whole system has a slimmer profile as well. And at the moment, SRAM is different from this, and that's why you need a different hanger for SRAM and Shimano on that generation. Vargopal asks, hi John, I have a problem with indexing my rear gears, which are on Shimano 105 5800. I follow the instructions from your related video and it works fine on the stand, but in real action, when I try and select the smallest cog, usually I fail. The chain stays on the second smallest cog. Should I change the cable? Thanks. Hi Varga. I would say by all means try another cable and see if that resolves the issue, because that could be the problem. But something else that could be causing it is that when you're riding in the smaller sprockets on the block, you're generally putting more flex and strain through the system. You might even be out the saddle, and that can sometimes mean that the chain can't get into that tiny sprocket at the back. So one other thing you can try is to undo the H screw a tiny little bit more at the back and see if that resolves the issue. Jimmy Lau asks, are there any rules on the size of disc rotors that you should run? 140mm all round or 160mm all round? Is there any reason why anyone would run a 160 front and a 140mm rotor rear? Hi there, Jimmy. There are no rules regarding the size of rotors that you run, but something worth thinking about, I guess, is that most of the pro riders that we're seeing at the moment are running 160 front and 140 rear. Now, the reason many would have a 160 at the front is because most of your braking forces, especially when you're going downhill, are at the front. The front brake does more of the work. And by having a larger rotor, you can dissipate more heat more quickly than a smaller 140 rotor. There's a slight weight saving as well by having a smaller rotor at the back. But if you're a lighter rider, then there's no means really, I'd say, with why you can't have a 140 at the front as well. So yeah, there are no rules. Carl Pan has a question on keeping his bike looking nice and clean. He says, do you recommend waxing the frame and fork so you always have that shiny new look and it protects it from grime? If yes, would car wax do? My bike is fully carbon. Carl, yes, I do recommend you do this. I've done it before, and I know that John does it as soon as he gets a new bike as well, and periodically does it a few times throughout the year to keep his bikes looking absolutely tip top. If you're gonna do it, car wax is absolutely fine, but if you've got a matte finish on your bike, then make sure you go for a specific matte product, as on a microscopic level, the surface of matte finishes are full of little gaps, and some waxes can get clogged in those gaps and reduce the matte appearance of that finish. Another thing to think about is ceramic coatings that are applied increasingly to fancy cars these days. These are really hydrophobic, so they're excellent at stopping dirt from sticking to your frame. Makes it easy to wash it off as well, so you might want to look into that as well. David Rinder has a question now. I wonder if he's related to Judge Rinder. Nah, spelled differently. Anyway, he asks, hi GCN, I recently acquired a Trek 5200 with Dura Ace 7700 and 9-speed group set. I'm interested in upgrading the crank and bottom bracket rather than doing maintenance on the Octalink spindle. Some sources say I could use a 10-speed crank, but I'm worried that will cause compromises in the shifting / general functioning. What current cranks would work well with this setup? Thanks. Well, hi David. Those Octalink adjustable spindles are very fiddly, I agree, but you can get the fully sealed ones still, and you could continue to use your Dura Ace chain set. Those old 7700 chain sets, they look really nice, so that would be cool. But you would be okay using a 10-speed crank and even an 11-speed crank too. I've done it, it works totally fine. Last question this week comes from Zach Snow. Topical. Now, Zach asks, love this segment on GCN. Thanks, Zach. And then he asks John, what is the most efficient pedaling system? Shimano, Speedplay, Look, or Time? Right, Zach, dude, this is a can of worms. Every single brand of pedals makes their own claims about them being the most efficient, and the truth is it's very hard to scientifically properly test this because it relies on people, and people's biomechanics are generally very different. That said, if you've got a worn out cleat, that can affect your efficiency, as it can cause your foot to rock on the pedal. Something else is cleat position, very important for maximizing efficiency. And if you're not convinced about your cleat being in the most efficient place, then a bike fit is really useful at fixing that. The other thing to consider is that Speedplay and Time pedals generally offer a bit more float in them than Look and Shimano pedals. Now, this isn't something that's necessary for everyone, but some people really like it. Right, that's it for this week. I hope you found these questions and answers useful, and if you have, then give the video a thumbs up and please subscribe to our channel. Let's hope that John makes it out of the snow alive in time for next week. And in the meantime, why not check out his excellent video where he went to visit Rob Hales to see some homemade custom carbon fibre tech. It's a good one down here. Right, bye.